It's clownin' time.
Oh, hi.
That pornographic sound I made, what the hell? The train is coming and so am I. Bad bitches make some noise. Oh. Professional gamer. Oh shit, let's wash the pussy before we go. There's a door here though. Woo! Fuck, not again. Hi. Hi, gay. Wait, can I do it? Did I not add that as a sound command? Oh, that's problematic. Hi. Hi, everybody. Welcome on in, Pants. Right off the bat with the sub. Thank you so much for the 3-month resub. I really appreciate that. How are y'all doing? I just wanted to have like a casual stream. I just wanted to like hang out. I just want to say hi and kind of just like, you know, come out of my little hole. I'm dying and thriving. It's so hot here today. It's not fair. It's not cute. It's not allowed. It shouldn't be allowed. It's only now kind of cooling down a little bit. We were rocking 30 degrees Celsius the whole day, basically, my day. And now we're at a 27 Celsius, which is roughly 80 Fahrenheit, for reference. Which for Portugal standards is extremely high temperature. So I have a fan on me. It's now like starting to cool down a bit because it's getting to nighttime. So I just figured I would come by and just like say hi to y'all for like a couple of hours. We can just hang out for a little bit and see what's up, what's poppin'. Yeah, I just wanted to like have a little moment with y'all because I love y'all so much. And I'm so grateful for every single one of you. But I just wanted to like say hi. Oh, there's something that I want to turn off. Okay, let me look at my sound files. Cause I was adding new sound files, or did I just create them and not add them to my thing? Oh no, I did add this one. It's a bit quiet. It's a bit quiet, isn't it? I don't know why I did that. It's my favorite part from an ATEEZ song, and I just needed to do it. By the way, I haven't said hi to Spin or Smallzy yet. How are y'all doing? It's disgusting here, so I just closed my blinds and I live in my dungeon. Oh god. Did you see the new Elgato goodies? I have seen a few of them on socials, but I haven't really seen like the full thing. Can I be honest with you all? This is kind of like a gamer girly unpopular opinion. I think the Elgato products are a bit overrated and overpriced for what they are. I'm just gonna be honest. Like I'm not saying that they're not good, but I'm saying that oftentimes people think that they're it. Like for example, capture card. I have the Elgato HD60S, I think. Always giving me problems. I bought the Razer Ripsaw, which by the way allows me to do retro stuff as well, which the Elgato one doesn't. Regardless, I got the Razer Ripsaw. Never have issues with it. The microphone, the microphones, the Wave, I know a few friends have it. Also, every time like there's a thing, like the audio is always like messing up, like they always have to update their audio. The only thing that I've only heard good things about is the key lights. The green screen is really good. The green screen I use, and I felt like it was appropriate for the price because I can just store it under my bed. It's very convenient, and I can just like pop it up really easily. So that I will give them that. Like the green screen is impeccable. I do think it's a bit overpriced. I think like depending on where you live or depending on where you are, if you can get creative and probably achieve a green screen that's decent enough for like a decent price. Also, my ring light was not, I feel like not even half as much as the Elgato like ring light. So there's that. So honestly, I find it hard for me to be excited about the Stream Deck. I've only heard that it's like good, but also like it can be very like flimsy. So I don't know. I don't know. I find it hard to be excited for like Elgato stuff because I do feel like sometimes people overhype it a little bit, and it's like, and they talk about Elgato products as if they're the best thing ever created, and some of their products are good, but let's not say that they're the end all be all, because we all know that when companies and people in general just get like put to a huge standard like that, it's usually makes for room for them to like do whatever they want and be overpriced as fuck, and then people just ignore the other brands, and it's like, no, my Razer Ripsaw is really excellent. Like I have no issues with it. I'll get you there. It doesn't have like a fancy ass like software like the Elgato does, but honey, I plug it in midstream, no issue. Elgato HD60S, plug it in midstream, malfunctioning, not working, issues all around. Or like when Elgato comes out with a product, it's like, mama, this product already exists in the industry for way cheaper for a way longer time, and it's like people act as if like when Elgato releases something it's like a brand new thing. It's like, no, this has been a thing for a long time. Like Elgato did not invent green screens, Elgato did not invent ring lights, Elgato did not invent capture cards. But yeah, anyway, sorry, I went on that tangent. Totally off topic. Can we talk about how your nails are so pretty? Oh, thank you so much. Do you like? I grew them myself. They're very long. They gotten to a point where it's inconvenient how long they are. So I'll probably give them a little trim as well, because my brother and his wife are coming over, and I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear any comments. No reason Elgato shit needs to be $9,000 more than everyone else's. Did I say hi to you, Smallsy? If I didn't, hi. Get your $20 ring light for $200, right? I was just gonna call out those nice nails. Oh, thank you. Y'all are so sweet. I only bought their mic because mine was a hand-me-down from my ex and I didn't want it. That's valid. I'm not necessarily pooping my pants about the new Elgato stuff. Yeah, I'm like, cool. It really was like, here's stuff we know you'll buy for the brand name, but everyone already has basically for way cheaper. And there's no guarantee it's gonna be amazing. Because with Elgato stuff, it's like, I've heard very mixed experiences on basically all of their products. So it's like, who knows how good it's gonna be. Like, I've heard even their green screen. Okay, mine is like stained. Mine did come stained. Not cum stain. Oh my god. My captions making my words dirtier than they are for the first time. No, it has like a stain. It has like, I don't even know if it's like it's not green. Let me just say that. But I've heard experiences where people pull out their green screen and it's like ripped, or like it you know, it's a lot. So like, and that's kind of what I hate as well, is like when someone has a bad experience with Elgato, for example, people are like the first to be like, oh my god, I've never had any bad experiences with them. And it's like, okay, good for you. Like, how's that gonna help me? like I've seen people like bring up Elgato issues that they've had with like their capture cards and whatever, and it's always a thing where they're like, oh, you must be doing something wrong or whatever, and it's like, no, the product is just not working, and that's fine. Like, I don't get why people are like, oh yeah, I had an amazing experience with them, therefore you can't possibly have, I've had a really good experience with them, therefore you can't have a bad one. Like, no, yes I can. Yes I can, actually. Turns out. It really was like, here's stuff we know you'll buy for the brand name. Yeah. It's very much the same reaction when Apple releases something and everyone floods their basements over it, and it's like, girl, this isn't anything new. Yeah, especially as far as like features and stuff like that. It's like, girly, Android has I don't want to do an Android versus Apple thing. I'm over it. I don't want to do it. But so a lot of the times it's like, oh, this already exists in the Android space, but okay. And this is not to say that Apple doesn't have like anything that they invent or whatever, because I'm sure that they innovate, and they have innovated before. But it's one of those things where sometimes it's like, Mama, your phone doesn't even come with a charger. Calm down. Mama, you just spent a lot of money on your phone and it doesn't come with a charger. Maybe take a breather. Not pull out and cum stain. Imagine having an Elgato product work. Well, I mean, their green screen works amazingly. Elgato has the worst help section for their capture card, I swear to God. I didn't know that. Well, all I can say is I have a Samsung and it has awesome screen, awesome camera, long-lasting battery life. Awesome screen, awesome camera. When Dext pulled out the awesome screen, awesome camera, long-lasting battery life reference on Just Gaming Things, I almost lost it live on stream. I kept it together, but I definitely looked at the screen like, oh, I see you. Their green screen works well. It better be. It's just there, right? Well, I mean, it could have come like ripped, or like, you know, sideways or whatever. It does have a stain on it, but I think the overall thing works, so it doesn't really matter. 10-year-olds filming with an iPod Touch make better help videos on YouTube for Elgato problems. Yeah, that sounds about right. Those 10-year-olds saved my life when I first started streaming. I'm screaming. Okay, I forget. This is my problem. Sometimes I add sound effects and I don't remember which ones I added and which ones I didn't. I added this one. This one is not new, but I added it recently.
Death to all of them.
So there's that. Which one did I want to add? Oh, this one. Let me test it.
Hi, gay.
That seems good enough. There you go. Exclamation point. Hi, gay.
Hi, gay.
Nico, hi. It has every sound command has a 1 minute cooldown because people are not to be trusted with good things. I think there's a general cooldown. Like if anyone uses one sound command, nobody else can use another sound command for a minute. I think it's something like that. Because people are not to be trusted with good things on this platform. Exclamation point for Gate, right? I thought I was gonna add something else. Oh yeah, this one. Does anyone want to do exclamation point slay?
Slay!
That one was loud. That one was loud. Hold on.
Slay!
Wait.
Slay!
Okay, I think that's good. Y'all, hi. Oh, I think I already said hi to you. Well, I said it again. Y'all, I have a problem. Not a problem. It's not a problem. It's a good thing. But I was listening to ATs, as I have been these days. And I made a little edit on TikTok that I want to share with you all. I'm just gonna sample like 10 seconds from an AT's performance. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. We're not gonna be DMCA'd. It's okay. Okay. Let me pull up my TikTok as well. So that y'all can see the before and after, okay? Is it muted, TikTok? It is, lovely. Okay, so this is what I did, okay? There's an AT's performance where they perform a thing, and then like before the beat drops, they say a little sentence or a little like phrase, which is where this came from. Like, I don't even know what he's saying, but that's what I got that from this performance, right? So so this is the original, okay? This is the original, okay? Okay, got it? Okay, this is the original, right? And this is what I did on my own volition on my time off. Hold on. I need audio to be playing on TikTok.
I dare you to blast your website.
Shit, that's loud. Okay. So here's the TikTok that I edited, okay? I'm so proud of it. Okay. So I just wanted to share that with you because I said, oh, I'm going to stream less and focus on other things. And this is what I was talking about, apparently. So I'm going to need y'all to go on that TikTok and click on that like button, please. And follow the account if you haven't. Oh my god. And then I was going to make a similar video. And at the big drop, I was going to do this. But I wasn't gonna edit another AT's video because it was gonna be like 2 videos back to back. But this is what I was gonna do as an alternate, okay? I was gonna do this as an alternate. Are you ready? I'm so excited. I'm just gonna do it on the spot. So this is what I was gonna do originally. Not originally, like after I posted that TikTok, I got another idea. Are you ready? I was gonna I was gonna do that. But I ended up not doing it because I thought I was like, I'm not gonna, keep doing the same joke over and over again. But I edited it and I just deleted it because I was like, I'm not gonna do this joke again. Anyway. The way that it was in the video too, it was a different part of the song in the performance. So it was when San has his part and he says like his little expression, and I was gonna do it. I was gonna do it with his part so that the video looked different. And the lip movements actually kind of looked like he was saying death to all of them. But I didn't want to upload that because I was like, I don't know, it's the same joke. I don't want to do it again. But that's what I did on my free time. I was actually doing a voice chat with Spin and Dex. And we were just like on Discord on our voice chat. And everyone was like working and twerking, and I was like, I'm done working for the day, let me edit something. I was like, what if? And then that happened. But anyway, some of my finest work. I appreciate that so much. You know what I'm vaguely interested in? I'm actually interested in the Steam, like, console that they're releasing. I don't like that they called it the Steam Deck, because I'm like, come on, this is... Elgato is gonna make a joke about this. But for those of you who don't know, it's being... Yeah, the Steam Switch. It's basically... It's basically like Switch, but for like Steam products. So it's like roughly like what, 400, 500, something like that. And it's according to Steam, it can play like basically anything on Steam on the go. And also you can actually plug it to a monitor like you would a console. And you can also plug in like a mouse and keyboard to it, so you can use it as like, so you can play games with a mouse and keyboard if that's what you wish. Apparently also it can be used as a computer. I don't know how much it can actually be used as a computer for, but apparently it does have, there's some things you can do like that are computery, which a part of me is like, can it run like the Epic Games Store? Because I do have some games on there that I got for free on Epic, and I'm like, can I just open the Epic launcher on there? Because that would be fierce. Even if it has to be like through a browser or like something like that. I was like, that would be really fierce. A part of the reason why I'm remotely interested in it is because for some of you may already know, but I'm interested in like upgrading my PC. And I probably should instead of getting this. But a part of me is like, what if I just got this and plugged it into my capture card, and just streamed games like that instead of or recorded games like that instead of, getting a whole ass computer for like $1,000. That's what a part of me is curious because of that. You know what I mean? Because like a part of me is like, do I want to spend $1,000, over $1,000 for a computer and a monitor? Because I have a laptop right now and an old ass monitor that's like barely 720p. So I'm like, okay, I want a new monitor and a computer, and I'm like, do I want to spend that much money? I'm very anxious about that because full disclosure, the Microsoft thing was paid, so I don't want to get into details because I don't want to be like, oh my god, I don't want to like flex or anything, but let's just say that they were generous when they invited me for their Pride stream. So I was like, I could get a computer, but I don't know what it is about it. Like me, I almost purchased it and I was like, I don't know. So I just got like anxious and I didn't buy it. You didn't hear it from me, but that may be on the way. So yeah, a part of me wants to, like a part of me is curious about the Steam thing, but a part of me is like, I should just like upgrade my computer, because then videos are gonna be easier to edit. It's probably gonna take lesser time to render, so it's gonna help overall. You know what I mean? Like having like not a proper, but an updated machine is gonna be good for like long term, right? But yeah, I'm just like a little anxious about it. I don't know why. I'm just anxious about getting... I just get anxious over spending that much money, because I don't think I've ever spent that much money with one purchase like that. So I'm just like, I'm scared. Like, I found like a really good store that I saw like a bunch of good like feedback on it on Reddit and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, this is a good store. But I'm scared. I'm really scared. Hi, Mana. How are you? Hello, gorgeous. Y'all were so sweet. I posted on Twitter a question, and I was like, would y'all be interested in like solo podcast episodes? Because I'm not gonna lie, and I said this on Twitter. I had a little back and forth with Jacob, because Jacob was really sweet, and I was like, you know, like a part of me, and I don't know if it's imposter syndrome, I don't know what it is, but a part of me is like, the reason my podcasts do well, or they do particularly well in context with the rest of my content on Twitch, in my head, is because like of the guests, and because it's like, oh, people are coming because the guests, because like their audiences care, so they're watching me because they want to watch their favorite get interviewed or whatever, right? Which is fine, I don't mind that. So it was kind of a little bit of that idea of me like being like, hi, would y'all want like me on my own to just talk for like an hour? And like it was really sweet seeing the response and seeing people be like, yes, we do in fact want to see that. So yeah, there's a part of me that wants to do I don't know if y'all are gonna like hearing this, but a part of me is wanting to do the podcasts off stream and have them get uploaded like on YouTube and Spotify and all that directly, and probably having like a 24-hour exclusivity period on Ko-Fi, and then uploading it the next day for everyone else. Only because I feel like sometimes the podcasts get lost in the mix when they're recorded live, and it's like people already heard it or they saw it on that one stream, and then, you know, I'm not really giving it a chance outside of Twitch. So I've been thinking about uploading the podcast directly to the sources that be to the, you know, like maybe 24 hours early on Ko-Fi, and then the next day on YouTube, Ko-Fi, of course, Spotify, all of that. And people will directly just watch it on YouTube and on all those places. Whether it's for me, whether it's for the guests. I've been really thinking of doing that because I just want to give the podcast episodes more of a chance. And that's how I used to do stuff. But I was like, oh, you know, I want to do it live because it's fun to do it on Twitch, do it on stream, and have people ask questions in real time and stuff like that. But I was thinking of doing something like that where like I make a post on Ko-Fi, open for everybody, where people can, or maybe not, maybe open for supporters, and y'all can either like ask me questions or send me like topic suggestions or whatever, and things that you want me to talk about, or even here on Twitch. I don't mind. Maybe I could have like a thing where we can redeem like questions for like, I don't know, maybe like 1,000 channel points or something like that, or more. I don't know. But I've been thinking about that because I think it would be fun to do the podcast regularly, and it's hard to do it regularly every single week if you have to depend on guests. But the whole thing as well is like, if I pre-record it, I could also just, you know, I can just record them whenever, and then the episodes can still go up on like a timely manner. So that could also be a thing. But yeah. I'm kind of learning how to balance Twitch and other things. I'm still learning, because that's how I started. I started doing other things and then Twitch, and then the other things all became Twitch, and my life is Twitch, and I don't want that to be my full thing. I want to be everywhere, and Twitch be one of the places I'm in. But also, like, I wanted to give myself like a chance to be like, it's okay, like if there's no one scheduled for that episode, it's also completely fine to just do the episode on your own, and to know that people do have interest in that makes me like very excited. Because I'm like, okay, cool, I can make content. Especially with my setup, I can probably put out content in like 1080p offline if I'm just like pre-recording, rather than doing it 720p because I have to be streaming. So, you know, there's a part of me that's also thinking like that as well, like, and I still haven't tested with games and stuff like that, how that works. If I were to like pre-record games, if they run better on my computer when I'm not streaming. But that's a whole thing for another day. I have like a little thing in the back of my throat. ProjectRuby era incoming. Okay, can I be also completely honest? There's a part of me that wants to change my name. I haven't thought of a different name. But there's a part of me that, like, I want to have like a name that sounds like a name. My online name, because I don't really care. Like, I don't have like a relationship with my, you know, government name. But I think it would be cute. Because, okay, here's how I see it. It's gonna be so silly. Maybe not. Maybe y'all will get it. So, oh, this is gonna sound so cheesy. Ugh. Okay, but anyway. So, I used to go by my first and last name. Horrible mistake. Don't do that. Not that anything happened, but I just didn't feel comfortable. Also because I don't love my name. I just prefer going by Ruby. Regardless. I used to go by that, and then I changed to ProjectRuby because some people know this, some people don't, but I changed to ProjectRuby because I was very fascinated with like code names for like whenever a new console is coming, but they come up with a code name so that people don't leak it or whatever. So I remember it was like, there was like Project Scorpio, which I think was like Xbox One at the time while they were working on it. I think that was the code name for it. And then there was like Project Morpheus, which I think was at the time, I think it was supposed to be like, I think it was supposed to be like a VR set or something like that. Yeah, it was PlayStation VR. The code name for it was Project Morpheus. So I just remember at the time being so fascinated with that and be like, oh, that would be really cute if I called myself Project Ruby. But a part of me is like, I feel like the name Project Ruby is almost like, it almost gives it like a work in progress kind of vibe. And I feel like I'm ready to like graduate to like a name that's like Ruby something. But I don't know. Like, I don't know what else to do. Like, I'm fine with just calling myself Ruby, but realistically, I don't wanna, you know, I can't have twitch.tv/Ruby or twitter.com/Ruby. Like, that's just not a thing that I can have. So I don't know. I almost want like an alias, you know, like. But I don't know. Ruby Weapon, Ruby Unleashed. Ruby Booty. I love Ruby Booty. Ruby Booby. Ruby 069. Not that. You know, I just like the idea of like, I don't know, like, if I'm like hosting something, I love the idea of being like, hi, my name is Ruby blah blah blah, and you know, and you're watching Disney Channel. I feel like saying, hi, I'm Project Ruby, and you're watching. I don't know. It just seems like it's just I'm just growing out of the name. It just seems like it's like too much of like a gamery or like a streamer-ish name, if that makes sense. Sorry, I'm taking off my earphones for a little bit because the cord is tangled. But I haven't really come up with anything, to be honest. You know, I was gonna go by Ruby's Room. I thought about it. Before I changed to Project Ruby, I think I had like, I don't know if it was like a Twitter poll. I think it was something like that. Because I had a couple ideas. Because I had a show called, I sound like some streamers where they're like, my show. And it's like, girl, it's a stream. You're a Twitch streamer. Let's not, you know. You're literally just chatting. It's fine. But I don't. This happened to my good Judy Passion, and I hate that some people call her Passions, because her name is Passions Planet, which makes perfect sense. But it's like, people will call her, like, Passions, and I'm like, I don't want people to call me Rubies, because they can't read, or whatever. Which is funny, because people don't call me Project, because I feel like people get it, that it's like, Project Ruby, they will call me Ruby, instead of just calling me Project, because Project is not a name. Ruby's isn't either, but you know. So that was my thing. I was like, oh, I don't want to go by Ruby's Room because like in usernames it doesn't look right. You can't have the apostrophe. I was like, I can't do that. I don't like that. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like these days I'm leaning more towards like a name where it's like I want to have like, you know, be like Ruby blank. And just go by that, right? Almost like, not a drag name, but it's like almost like an elevated name. Or like a person name, like an alias, or like an artist, what have you. You know what I mean? Also, not that there's anything wrong with being like, you know, a streamer. Like with having like a streamer name. Like I don't have any issues with that. But, I don't know. Ruby 2 Booty. Is that the new Fast and Furious movie? Honestly, anything could be your last name. Like, look at me. I took 2 verbs, one of which is misspelled, and made that my first and last name. Right. Oh my god, I was DMing someone something, and I was gonna, the word spin was in there, and I almost sent the message with 2 N's. I almost spelled the word, well, I fully did spell the word spin with 2 N's. And I almost sent the message like that. Like, you know how you get like a red underscore when you misspell something? I was like, no, that's right. And then I was like, no, it's not. That's I was like, oh, that's, yeah. It looks wrong with me with 1 N. I'm like, what? I used to be Magical Danny 13, and there's 5 things why that name needed to change. I totally get that. I love that idea. My name used to have a number as well. I wish to incorporate Mel and Pants, but I cannot. I love your name though, Pants. I love your name. I do. I can also see why you would want to be called Mel. And like, because your name is Pants, like your username is Pants, I can see how you would be like, oh, I kind of want people to call me Mel and not just Pants. But, you know, I get that. Mel's Pants. You can be that. But your name is immaculate. I love your name. It's spin with 2 N's or nothing these days. Not our friends ruining our spelling ability. Absolutely. My autocorrect picks it up. I love that. I live for whenever y'all misspell the word because of me. Spin dominating the world 1 word at a time. Absolutely. Absolutely. I've thought about changing my username to breakfast.rubies and just be that brand, but I don't want to be like a brand product. I want to be like a person. You know what I mean? There's a part of me that wants to like take my middle name and do that. Not that I want to dox myself right now and say it, but I thought about it. I don't know. I haven't really, like, I don't know. There's like something to me, like, because I've had the privilege and opportunity to be featured on, like, you know, articles, and like I may or may not be in the credits for a TTRPG that I kind of play tested, not kind of, that I play tested on Jess's channel when we did when Jess hosted the TTRPG Games Day, where she had like a whole day where people played TTRPGs all day, and they were like, "Oh, how do you want to be like named in the credits?" And I was like, "ProjectRuby," and that's kind of one of the last times where I was like, I don't want to go by, I don't know if I want to go by ProjectRuby. I don't know. I was like, I don't know if that's what I want. Hi Fly, how are you? I don't know. Maybe there's something will come to my brain at some point. I've thought about like taking a video game character name or something like that. I've thought about it, but I don't know. At the same time, it's like, I don't know if I want to get in trouble. I don't know. Well, I guess it's not in trouble. Like, if I were to legally change my name, I can change my name to whatever I want. Ruby Strife. Ruby Strife does sound cute. I was thinking Ruby Lockhart. But, you know, Ruby Strife is cute. Rubario Lockhart. Not Rubario. I did think about it. I mean, Tifa is an icon, a legend. She's a Taurus icon. No, this is when we get too far. No. 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 This is when the line has been crossed. I did consider deleting your comment. Rubuchi. No. You know what? Maybe we're not brainstorming today. You know what? Maybe brainstorming was a mistake. Okay. Ruby Valentine. That would be kind of hot. Kind of sounds like a porn name. Are you looking for Dex? Dex said, I'm not deleting it. Ruby is not deleting it, but I am. Are you looking for a name you connect more with? Yeah. It's just like I'm not, I don't feel like disconnected to Project Ruby. I just want, I don't know.
Can I have some cock, please?
I just, you know, not Rubussy. Yeah, that's the one. I did get jump scared, didn't I? I love that though. Ruby Valentine is kind of fierce. Does something pop up when I also want a name that, like, when I look it up, it doesn't show anything. Oh, it's a We're not doing Ruby Valentine. It's a kid's book. It's a kid's book character. Apparently there's also an actress called Ruby Valentine. I thought you were about to say it's a porn star name. I wish. Probably. Ruby Valentine saves the day. That's literally the title of a book. Work! Oh, there is a girly on Instagram called... Oh no, that... Yeah, she goes by Rubber Ruby Valentine, and you can probably tell from the name alone what she does for a living. But her professional name is Ruby Valentine. She's serving though. She's like serving like rubber from head to toe with like the eyes and the mouth cut out and like snatched ponytails. She's gorgeous. But yeah, Ruby Valentine, not the one. Ruby Hub. A part of me kind of lives for it, but I don't think so. No. Ruby 13. That's kind of hot. I could go by Ruby V, because 5 is like my lucky number, and it's like 5 is also like, V is also 5. Does anything pop up when you look up Ruby V? I think Ruby is a mistake. Because there's always something that pops up when I look up V. Like, when I look up Ruby, it's always... Now this is like some sort of software. Oh, because Ruby is a programmer's best friend. When you look up Ruby V, the first thing that pops up is like Ruby version. There's also apparently apparently a radio presenter called Ruby V. Oh, she's stunning. Oh, she's gorgeous. She's beautiful. She's beautiful. She's a radio presenter. I love that. Okay, we can't be Ruby V. I kind of love that. I know. I love that too, but I can't. Her username isn't Ruby V. It's just her name. Her username is just Ruby V. I don't think anyone is called Ruby V on Instagram, but then again, it could be taken anyway. No, it's taken by one person who has uploaded one one photo. Not Ruby V. That just reminds me of Gary V. Ruby redacted. No, I want it to sound like a name, y'all. I want it to sound like a name. Although, a part of me also, like, almost wants to take, like, twitch.tv/redacted and just be redacted everywhere. But I won't, of course. Oh, apparently there is a streamer called Redacted. I love that. They have 5 whole followers. This is the thing. This is the thing about good usernames. Sometimes people just have great usernames and they don't utilize them at all. And that makes me so sad. Could you imagine how iconic it would be if, like, you were streaming and someone called Redacted rated you? I would yell. Rubion. They, comrade. You can take a nap, it's okay. Ruby Valencia. The person with the name Mana hasn't streamed in 3 years. That's so sad. That's really sad. I was gonna say something and I forgot. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I steal these names for y'all. I love that. I love that. I mean, surely someone... Yeah, Ruby Lockhart is also a thing already. I mean, not really a thing, but apparently it's a street. Ruby Lockhart Boulevard. What is MD? What is that state? MD? Let's go, Mel, for the random thieves. Yeah, apparently that's a place in Maryland. Ruby Lockhart Boulevard. I love that. That's hot. This is so tricky. I know, we don't need to come up with a new name right now. I just wanted to talk about that because, yeah, you'd already have a street named after you. I mean, that's true. That's true. I mean, to be fair, I feel like at this point in time, there's not gonna be a name that's fully original. That's like, if you look it up, nothing pops up. You know what I mean? Ruby Heart? I don't know. Oh, apparently that's a thing here. What is it? Apparently that's a clothing brand here. That translates to Step by Step by Ruby Heart. Love that for them. Not unless you make something up. That's true. That's true. That's true. Yeah, it's fine, y'all. We don't need to come up with something. It's fine. It's completely fine. Something will probably speak to me at some point, and it will make sense. And it will click the same way that ProjectRuby did. I'm just probably on my way out from this name, but I haven't really thought of like anything else for the time being. Ruby Icon. That's the one. That's the one, y'all. Yeah. Do y'all have any like suggestions or any things that you would like me to talk about on a soon-ish episode of Breakfast at Ruby's? I have thought about naming myself Breakfast at Ruby's, but I don't know about that. It's just, it sounds like a restaurant name. You'll find something. Yeah, I'll find something. Surely, I will find something. Whether it's like a character name that kind of pops to me, or just like something. I'm sure something will pop. Something will make sense. It's hard though sometimes to like think about names that like make sense, or something that sounds good, or you know. But I do love like fierce like names like that, and even names that are like, oh my god, that sounds like a porn star name. Like I kind of love that, you know what I mean? Like names like that, where there's some really good porn star names out there too. I'm not gonna lie, there's porn stars that have like amazing names that you're like, wow, that's an amazing name. Like, you know, like some people you're really like, wow, like if you can't choose like a name for yourself that isn't the name that you were like assigned at birth, then like that's a fucking amazing name. You know what I mean? I love it. But yeah, is there something that y'all would be interested in me talking about, or just like generally, because I've thought about going the route where I just kind of like think about like a random topic, like a very specific and yet broad topic to just talk about, and I just kind of talk about it for that day and just kind of rant about it or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. Haven't really. The interesting thing to me about the solo podcast is that a part of me also kind of would like for them to be a little bit unprompted and a bit of a like stream of consciousness with a little bit of not necessarily restraint, but with a little bit of direction of like, you know, so I wouldn't jump topics every 2 seconds, and it would be more of a one specific thing on my mind, and I kind of talk about that one thing for that day. You know what I mean? Sounds like a great opportunity to deep dive into things. Yeah, for sure. I like the idea of just like having a one take thing where I just kind of talk about stuff. Oh, excuse me. I would love for at the end though for me to have a kind of like a portion that's like questions where it can be more like silly questions and like random questions they all ask. Just like stuff like, you know, like whatever you would be interested in me discussing, or like even silly things like I don't know, like random ass questions like, oh, what's your favorite K-pop comeback from this year? Or, you know what I mean? Just like random stuff like that where like I just kind of talk about stuff, and then at the end I could have like a little Q&A. I guess I could just have that as a post on Ko-Fi, and people can comment like questions that they want to ask. That could be like a Ko-Fi perk. They get the episode early and they get to ask questions for like episodes. I think that could be cute. I like the sound of that. Ruby Explains It All podcast. I don't know if I'm qualified to jump on a podcast and explain anything to anyone. But you know, I can rant about stuff. I just love these like streams that are like casual, and I don't, you know, like I said earlier the week, I didn't want to just like stream and be like, I don't know what to do, so I'm just gonna stream. And I really like streams like this where I kind of have like a purpose of like, I just want to hang out with my people, you know, like I love y'all, so I just want to hang out with y'all for like a couple of hours. It doesn't have to be like a theme or a whole structure to it, but I just love that idea of just like popping in and just saying hi. I will say though, I did think about it for a little bit, and I'm gonna do like a retro stream soon. I obtained a copy of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie from the Sega Genesis. And I thought it would be cute because for those of you who don't remember, I had like a charity stream earlier this year / sometime last year. I can't remember time frames. And I had an incentive where people could suggest what game I would play next. So I was thinking of, and one of the people suggested that as the game that I play next. So I was thinking of doing like a one stream thing where like I kind of like play that game and we go as far as we happen to go that day, and I just kind of either make a video out of it or like a shorter, you know, video to go up. And just kind of turn the stream into like an edited video that goes up on Ko-Fi and then YouTube later. Because I still want to play games, you know? Like I said I didn't want to just be a streamer TM. But yeah, today I wasn't really up to much, to be honest. Like I basically woke up, I watched this show called BET Presents The Encore, which is like a lot of like ex-girl group members are put together in a house and they're supposed to like record an EP and put together a performance at the end. And it has like a lot of different girlies from different groups. And one of the girlies was Aubrey from Identity Kane, but she left. Like this last episode, she left. It's interesting, but it's also like a bit dramatic. Like it's not like you're not watching Making the Band, let's just say that, right? It's like a thing where like everyone is arguing all the time, everyone is like, oh, I don't have many lines in it, and it's so funny to me. Excuse me, because like the main problem of the show, according to the people in the house, is that there's 9 girls, and one of the missions is that they have to be in one of the songs. Like all 9 of them have to be, now 8 I guess, have to be in one song. And it's so funny to me as a K-pop stan to be like, oh my god, they cannot compute. They cannot like put together a song in their heads where it's like, for them it was such a problem. They were like, oh my god, 9 people in one song? How is that possible? Meanwhile, I'm like, girls' generation. They could do it. Twice can do it. It's so funny to me. Like, people just like over here in like Western countries, they have such a thing for like, oh my god, 5 people, like 7 people is too much. And it's like, it's not. It's really not. I look at NCT 2020. Oh my god. It's like, what, 20 something members? I really do love the idea though of like a huge group of like 10 people, or like, let's say 9 people, because that's the concept of the show. I love the idea of like, and I've thought about like putting together like a group of people that are like streamers, online people that like want to do like music together. And I love the idea of like maybe having like a couple songs here and there where it's like everybody, but like also having like subunits and everyone having like solo songs, you know, pairs, trios, you know, 4 people, 5 people, everyone in one song. Like, I love that idea. I don't know if I would do it with streamers. There's just something about like, I don't know if I can work with a bunch of like online people that all have like an ego, a brand, something that they want to uphold. I don't know if I could do that, but I do love that idea. I love the idea of like a group of people coming together and like everyone having like, you know, subgroups and then like duos and trios and then the whole group, and then I just love that dynamic. I love that dynamic. Like, one of my favorite tour concepts was when Identity Kane reunited for the last time they reunited. Well, it wasn't all 5 of them, but it was 3 of them at the time. And they did this thing where they performed, like, Dawn performed her solo songs, like a couple solo songs, and then Aubrey and Shannon, which have a group called Dumb Blonde, they performed a few of their songs, and then the 3 of them came together to perform Identity Kane songs. And I was like, that's such a cool idea. And like the thing that they did was like, they performed songs that went together with each other. So like Dawn would perform a couple of her songs, and then they would transition the last part of Dawn's song to kind of connect with a Dumb Blonde song, and they just kind of interconnected. And then at the end of the Dumb Blonde song, Dawn would come back and perform a few Identity Kane songs. And then like, I don't know, like Dawn would leave and then Dumb Blonde would perform, and then, you know what I mean? Like, I just love that, like that concept of like, you know, it's like a group but also individuals, and it's like you have the chance for people to be themselves but also be the group. And I just love that. I just really love that concept. But yeah, I don't know how that would work with online people, or with like, you know, social media people or streamers, what have you, but I love that idea. I really do. Your 23 beautiful sons. Ah, I love that. My brain is empty. My brain is empty. By the 1 hour mark, I'm like, I think I talked about everything. We kind of caught up and all of that. What are y'all up to? What are y'all up to? It's 7:30 a.m. Oh my god, Small Z, go to bed. That's one thing that I'm not looking forward to. Like, my brother and his wife are coming over on Saturday, and I'll have to wake up at least at 12. And it sounds so silly, but I go to bed so late that, like, that's not a lot of time. I was actually gonna do that today. I was gonna be like, oh, let me just like do that today and wake up at 12 and just like sleep for like 4 hours or something and be like, it is what it is. But I don't know, I just felt like tired. I was like, no, I want to rest for as much as I want. You hate Persona 5, but this song is a song I bought my pussy to. Love that. I literally don't know what I was gonna say. I don't think I have anything I want to say. But I don't want to end the stream already. I don't want to end stream. I do want to talk about something. I just thought about it. But it's actually something that I thought about the other day. I don't want this to sound like a complaint. I hope it doesn't come across as that. But if it does, it is what it is. I think it has to do with me. I think it probably has something to do with me being on the neurodivergent spectrum. Because it's very hard for me to gauge what people want. Like, it's really hard for me to log in and be like, oh yeah, if I do this stream, people are gonna love it. Or, oh, people want to see this game. Or just general impressions of like what people want. I'm horrible at that. And I don't know if it's a me thing. I don't know if everyone goes through that and nobody says it or whatever. But that's something that I really struggle with. Like, I have a really hard time gauging interest. And I think it's a particularly difficult thing because sometimes I don't know if it's that I can't, but I don't know, or I don't read between the lines. And I don't know, I think sometimes for me, it's like I stream something and I'm like, oh, I'm so excited for this. And then it's like, if it doesn't get a huge reaction, a part of my brain is like, oh, surely it's not because they're not interested in the game. Surely it's because they're busy, or surely it's because maybe I just need to stream it at a different time or a different day or whatever. And it's so hard for me to gauge like what y'all want. And I have such a hard time sometimes because I think what happens is when you upload, and it's a thing that actually happened right now as we're streaming, where it's like, I'm like, what do you want me to talk about? And y'all are like y'all don't, respond, which is, I get it. Like, it's a thing where like y'all want to give me creative control and y'all want me to do whatever I want. And this is not a call out post. I'm not complaining about y'all specifically and anything like that. I'm just saying, for me, it's really hard to be like, what do they want to hear me talk about? And it's like, if it's not like entirely spelled out in front of me, I'm just like, I don't know. And it's hard for me to just be like, oh, I guess if the episode does well, that means that they liked it. Or if the episode didn't do well, it means that they didn't like it. Like, I feel bad rating my content like that, because I don't want to necessarily think that you know, if you didn't watch a specific stream or if a specific video didn't hit a certain amount of views, that it's bad or that I shouldn't do it. So it's really hard for me to gauge that. Because sometimes I'm like, ooh, this game is going to be so much fun. I'm so excited to stream it. And sometimes it's like, I don't feel that back. And I'm like, so should I not stream this game? Like, you know what I mean? Like it's hard for me to gauge that. And I don't know if it's like a neurodivergent thing where like things have to be obvious. And then at the same time, it's like, oh, excuse me. And then at the same time, it's like, I don't know if people aren't necessarily going to go into your stream and be like, I don't like what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I would rather you stream this instead. Because that just is rude. You know what I mean? I feel like people would be like, I feel like I would be like, oh, if you don't want to watch this, then just go. And then there's the age-old question of like when you do a poll and then people either don't vote, or when they vote and you do that, then they don't watch it. And you're like, what? Like for me, it's such a whiplash. It's such a whiplash thing where I'm like, I don't know. It's definitely the equivalent of being a hairdresser and someone sitting in front of me and being like, just do whatever you want. Right. It's very that. It's like, I hope this is not coming across as me complaining, because I really don't want to come on to, like, I don't want to stream and, like, ruin vibes or, like, be annoying or complain or whatever. So if I can just switch topics if y'all want. But I feel that, you know? It's like, sometimes it's hard for me. And the thing is as well, sometimes I'm like, I get excited about a video and then I'm like, what if no one cares about it? And I have like no way of knowing. Cause even earlier, like the tweet about me being like, what if I did a solo podcast? That tweet got replies, that I got likes, all of that stuff. I quote tweeted that an hour later with like, what would you want me to talk about? Crickets. And I'm just like, and I deleted it, as one does. I will probably reply to that tweet later or maybe tomorrow. And like, there's just a part of me that's like, it's hard to not get feedback, but at the same time, I get it that people just want me to do whatever I want to do, but I'm like, And I think that's also a thing, and I've always talked about this, where like big content creators have it easier, like, and that's just the truth. Like, no big content creator ever logs in on Twitch and is like, oh, I don't know what I'm gonna talk about, because like, even sometimes they click that they started streaming, even before they're on camera, they already have people like asking questions, like coming up with topics and like asking things and being like super engaging. So like, they just show up and they just naturally have a flow of conversation that happens. And I feel like that's always been a thing where like, I remember I used to log in and stream and be like, pull up articles and be like, maybe this is something that we could talk about. Maybe this is something that you could talk about. And I'm just like, I don't know if they're interested in it or not. And sometimes, you know, the numbers themselves, it's hard to decipher them, because you're like, was it my delivery? Was it the content itself? Was it the time? Was it the day? Was it the lack of promotion? What? It's just, you know, like that's the thing about content creation that I don't like. It's like, it's not like, nothing is ever like clear. Like, I'm always just like guessing and hoping for the best, and oftentimes it's anyone's guess. You know what I mean? I personally love you talking about anything, even if it's something I don't know. Aw, I appreciate that. I feel, you know, it's real. I totally get that. Aw, I appreciate y'all. I really appreciate y'all. And this is not a thing with like, oh, you know, big streamers have it easy or whatever. But I've always found it like, I don't know. Like, I forgot what I was gonna say because I got distracted because I have Twitter open. Ale. Okay, here's what I was gonna say. Like, there's something to be said. Like, for example, you're a makeup artist, right? If you're someone with like a big chunk of audience, you can just be like, hi, what did you like? And like, even without you asking, you're gonna have people in your comments being like, oh, you should do this thing, you should do that thing, oh, I would love to see a video on that, I would love that. Like, people just throw ideas at you. Or if like a bigger creator is like, oh my god, ask me questions, ooh, like they can make a whole ass video that's them answering viewer questions. And sometimes when you're, I guess, like when you're a growing creator, you just can't afford to do that. Like, sometimes you're just like, you know, I remember having like several episodes of Breakfast at Ruby's where I was like I would ask verbally, and I would type in the chat like, hey, if you have any questions, ask them. Hey, if you have any questions, ask them for me or my guests. And like, there's episodes where there's no questions asked. I remember I edited me saying that from like one of the episodes. I just edited out me being like, you can ask us questions on Twitch, because like I got no questions that episode, so I just edited the episode and deleted that. But that's like a thing that I just kind of realized, where it's like, it's harder to make content when there isn't that like call and response. And I'm not saying that it's anyone's fault, probably mine. If anyone is at fault, it's probably my fault. But I don't know. It's hard. It's hard sometimes to like try to guess what people want and what people would be excited to watch. And it hurts when you're like, you think something is gonna do well and it doesn't, or you think something is gonna, like, oh, people are gonna love this, or like, oh my god, people are gonna find this funny or whatever, and then it doesn't hit or whatever. I don't know. A larger part of the content is chat. Yeah. For me, I'll watch no matter what you do, but thinking about what I look for in content, I really look for the passion. Like, I watch a lot of different kinds of content for what they all have in common. But what they all have in common is that the person is passionate about what they're doing. Oh my god, I feel that like I have a lot of ideas for things that I could do on stream, but they would require more participation. No, for sure. Like, that's such a thing where it's like I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of that. It's like, you have an idea, or you're wondering what your audience wants, and then you just don't know what they want. And I think sometimes it's like they don't know what they want. They probably just want whatever you're doing. But yeah. And that's like totally a thing that that happens. Like, there's people who they never have to worry. Like, for example, there are podcasts where like they dedicate a part of their podcast for like a viewer topic and stuff like that, and it's like, well, you know, like there's things where I remember for just gaming things, we had like a couple of episodes where I remember asking people like, if you have any questions for us, let us know and we'll answer them next episode. That happened for like 3 episodes or something, and no one said a thing. So I was like, okay, cool. But it makes you feel like such a flop. You're just like, oh, okay. But then again, it's like, there's a part of it that it's like, no, maybe they just love what you're talking about, and maybe they just want you to be in control of what topics that you want to talk about, and they're okay with that. But a part of you is like, oh, I'm a flop. I know I sure never know what I want. That's true. That's true. I also feel that. Like, I feel like, and like that's such a thing. I totally get that, because like if I'm like watching any friends stream and they're like, what game should I play? I'm like, girl, I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, I don't know. Hey Glenn, how are you, Icon? We're just having a casual stream today. Ow! Did I just scratch myself? We're just having a little, you know, casual stream. Just wanted to hang out with everyone because I've been I wouldn't say detached, but I've been kind of not streaming as much. So I just wanted to, like, you know, hop on stream and say hi to everyone and just hang out for a little bit. How am I? Sitting in my chair, literally not knowing what I want or should do. Glenn, you just attacked me personally. Oh, that's my days. I literally, it's such a weird thing, and I don't know if this is like an ADHD thing that you can relate to, or if it's like a more of a me thing. But I, like, when I was streaming more often, I remember I was like, during this last week where I streamed like Final Fantasy VII Remake every day until I beat it, which ended up being like 3 or 4 streams. It wasn't that bad. But I remember getting to the end of that and being like, oh, I want more time to do other things. And then I make time to do other things, and then I just sit here and I don't know what to do. And I just scroll through Twitter, close Twitter, open Twitter on a different tab, open YouTube, go through a couple recommended videos, close YouTube, open Twitter, and like maybe listen to a podcast, and then like maybe boot up a game, play a couple rounds, close the game. And it's just like such a thing. And then the end of the day comes and you're like, oh, I wish I did more things. And then you stay up a little late because you're like, oh, I guess I want to do something now. Like, let me play a game. Let me do something. And then you're tired. And then you're like, okay, I'm going to go to bed. And then you go to bed and you're like, oh, I wish I did this. I wish I did that. And I wish I did this. And then the next day comes and it's the same thing. And you're like, or like you think of something that you want to do, but then you come up with all of the excuses not to do it. I don't know. And I feel like I'm not working as hard as other creators and then feel bad about it. So I play games to forget about it, then I feel anxious, and then I turn it off to try to focus and then go to Twitch or Twitter to distract from it. It's such a thing. It's such a thing, Glenn. I'm glad I'm not alone. I hate that we're in this position, but I'm glad that I'm not alone. I feel that. Like, I remember, like, when I was at my old job, I remember being like, oh my god, right now I could be, like, making a song, or I could be learning how to do something, or I could be dancing, or whatever. And then it's like, I make the time for it, and then I'm not doing any of it. And then sometimes you just go to whatever you're comfortable with. Like, a lot of the times my go-to is, like, streaming. And I'm just like, I don't know what else to do, so I'll stream because I'll feel like I worked that day because I streamed. The problem is that for me, Twitch doesn't feel as... like, for the amount of time that I put into it, it doesn't feel as rewarding. If I'm gonna be completely honest. Like, I'm not someone that has an audience that is like, yes, sub trains every day, and like, yes, all the money in the world. Like, I get it. Like, y'all are in the same boat as me. Like, I can't just give out money like that. Like, it's not a problem. This is not a problem. Let me just restate that. It's not a problem. I have a pay what you want format on my Ko-Fi as well. Like, it's not a problem, I promise. It's just that it's hard to feel like, you know, like, it's hard to put so much time into something and not see kind of return for it. So I'm just kind of in this space where I kind of want to, like, branch out and T-pose as my arms cut out. but I'm kind of in a situation where I want to like make other content and like kind of step out of my comfort zone. But then I get anxious and I just stare into the oblivion and do nothing for a whole day. And I feel bad about it. And then it's a whole thing. And then I'm like, oh, I haven't streamed for like 3 days and I haven't done anything. So I guess I should stream, which is not a bad thing. Like I love streaming every once in a while and doing that. But it sucks sometimes. It just sucks sometimes because I'm just like, I wish like I could say that I did all of these things during that day, and it's a whole thing, and like I don't know. Can you hear the dogs outside? I ran out of water too. Sad. I pet the yelling doggy again. The dogs are just having fun. But yeah, I don't want to complain, and I'm sorry if it's like coming across as like me complaining or anything. So I don't want to do that. Because I feel like sometimes when I rant about stuff, it comes across as like me complaining. So I don't want to do that. And that's like another thing. Like I feel like sometimes my content is just me ranting about something and like complaining about something, and it's like I feel like sometimes it's like people come into the streams and they're like, I don't want that. I don't know. To me, it's not complaining. It's talking out loud and sitting with your emotions. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I totally get it. Thank you. Yeah. Sometimes I just have a hard time being like a creator, because it's like I feel like I don't just do that thing where like everything is fine, there's no problems at all, I know what I'm doing. Like to me it's hard to do that. Like I can't just like sit here and be like, I know exactly what I'm doing. Yes, because I don't know what I'm doing. Like simple decisions like, oh, should I upload everything onto my YouTube channel or should I do separate channels? Stuff like that for me is a big deal, and it's a big hurdle that I will avoid for as much as I can. Like just little things like that. Like I just feel like I don't have that intuitive thing to me where I just like I have an idea and I'm like, oh, I know exactly how I'm gonna promote this, I know exactly what my caption is gonna be, I know exactly what time this is gonna go up at. Like I have no idea, and oftentimes I'm very wrong, and oftentimes I'm very disappointed because I'm like, I don't know. I feel like whenever you do this kind of thing, you'll say something that I've been feeling too, and I'm like, oh my god, it's not just me. Aw, I appreciate that. That's kind of, to me, sometimes it's hard not to say an ableist word here because I'm trying to think of other words that kind of that replace it and make it justice. But that's sometimes a thing that makes me feel silly. It makes me feel like it's just me who feels those things, you know? Like I log on and I just see like people who seemingly have it all figured out, and they just know, they just upload everything perfectly, they just get the engagement, they get the things, and they never talk about this thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like I never, like there's people who I go to their streams and they never talk about these things, and I'm just like, and then it makes me feel bad. I'm like, oh, I shouldn't be talking about those things because it's uncool to talk about them, or it's unprofessional, or it looks bad, or whatever. And it's just like, I don't know. It's and I guess, and that's another symptom of like someone who's neurodivergent, is like feeling like you're an outsider, like feeling like you're othered, like feeling like everyone else knows what they're doing and everyone else has their shit together, and you're an alien. You just don't know. You're just an outsider trying their best, but you could never catch up with everyone else. But I mean, at the same time, there's people who like are like, oh my god, I am inspired by Ruby's like gender journey, and Ruby inspired me, and I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing. How did I inspire you? Like, how does it look like I have my shit together? So you know, sometimes I do rationalize it, and I'm like, sometimes I am the person who comes across like I know what I'm doing. And I don't at all. It doesn't make me question reality. It makes me feel like I'm the only person whose reality is that. You know what I mean? It makes me feel like I'm the only person who possibly goes through that. And I know I'm not, but it feels like it sometimes. Thank you so much for following. I really appreciate that. You were the first person I asked about gender during my journey. I really appreciate that. I have this theory that literally no one has their shit together ever and everyone's just faking it. Okay, yeah, to a degree. I do think that, I mean, there are people who are like really good at like rolling out a project. Like, I mean, they're always going to be my example, I feel like. But I feel like Jude, Mermaid Royal, for all we know, they could just be winging it this whole time. But they just come across like they know what they're doing. You know what I mean? Like, to me, they just come across as like, they know how to like tease stuff. They know the right times to do things in. They know the right verbiage for things. They know how to do like a rollout and get people excited and stuff like that. And I'm like so envious. I'm just like, they're amazing. You know what I mean? Like, and they're so like unafraid to like self-promo that sometimes I have to tell myself like, they're not doing anything wrong by self-promoting. Because I feel like there's always something in the back of my mind, or in all of our minds, where they're like, oh my god, that person is always self-promoting. But it's like, as they should. Like, you're projecting because you don't self-promote as much as they do. And that's something that I have to work on. That's something that I have to work on myself, where like I look at people who have their shit together and I'm just like, wow, like they're doing the most, and I'm like, or you're not doing enough. But yeah, I don't know. Take those moments as a reminder of your worth and your impact just as you are. Aw, I appreciate that, Fly. I do believe in impact over numbers, because I mean, I'm the living proof of that, right? Like, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but like, I got featured on Kotaku not because I'm the most famous person anywhere. I got contacted for Microsoft's Pride gig, not because I'm the most relevant person in the world. And so, you know what I mean? It's just like, and those are things that like for some people they're not a big deal, but they are for me. And there's just like things like that where I'm like, I get it. Like, I get it that like I would hope that my impact is bigger than my, you know, statistics. But it's also hard to like feel that and measure that when that doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, you're getting a lot of coin, or it doesn't necessarily mean that you're getting a lot of following or whatever, all of that fun stuff that we all love. We all love analytics and stats, right? It's a joke. But you know what I mean? Like, I do genuinely believe in that, and I feel like I am the living proof of that. But it's hard to believe that every day, at every hour. It's really hard, especially when that part of your brain starts comparing yourself with other people, and you're like, I will say Jude has had almost a decade of social media experience, so that's definitely a factor. So have I. I'm getting close to 10 years of being someone who started on YouTube. Well, not yeah, like 3. I feel like I started in 2014 on YouTube. Yeah, 2014, March 2014. Well, I don't know if that's when my first video came out, but I don't know if that matters. But I don't. I mean, that's a thing sometimes too that I feel where I'm like, oh, I've been around for so long and I feel like I know nothing. Oh God. I don't know. Maybe everyone feels that to a certain degree. Maybe, you know, the people that we look at and we're like, they have their shit together. Maybe they're just testing shit out and it's working and they're like, okay, cool. Like, maybe that's the case sometimes, but, you know. I don't know where I'm going with this. Yes, post for us because you already know. That's true. That's true. I appreciate that. And to be transparent, I don't want to be the most famous person in the room. I want to be able to go outside and not be recognized by anyone. You know, like, I don't want to be that person that has like annoying stands, or like that has an audience that I can't really, not that I can't control, but that it's hard to moderate because it's like bigger than anything that I can do or whatever. Like, I don't want that. But you know, I guess what I'm trying to say is like, you know, sometimes it's also hard not to get recognized for your work. And granted, I am recognized for my work, just not as often as my brain sees as like enough. Which is bad. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's a bad thought process. I'm not saying that I'm not saying that my brain is correct. But you know, if it makes you feel better, I'm going on 14 years. Granted, I gave up and started over a lot of times that you know. Oh, I don't even want to talk about like my old YouTube channel from like my teen years. Which it doesn't have my face on it or anything. I was extremely shy. I could never. But you know, I don't know where I was going with that. I will give myself credit on the fact that I did kind of like, I didn't always dedicate all of my time to it, right? Like, even on YouTube, there were periods where I didn't upload for a little bit, or there were periods where I had a job that took over a little bit and stuff like that. So, you know. But yeah. I just, you know, it's gonna sound selfish. I don't know how it's gonna sound. I'm just gonna say it and whatever. I'm kind of tired of being underappreciated. You know what I mean? Like, I know that sounds so bad. I don't know if it sounds bad. I don't know. It sounds bad in my head. But like, there is something to being the person who's like, or like people come into your stream and they're like, oh my god, you should get more views than you do, or like, oh my god, you're, you know, or like when I go to, you know, when I go to the chats on Twitch of people who have more followers and viewers than me, and they're like Ruby does amazing podcasts, and I'm like, do I? 'Cause you know, the numbers don't reflect that. Like, I'm tired of, like, the numbers not reflecting the quality that I think I have. I don't know what that makes me sound like. But I'm, you know, like, I don't hate it, but I'm tired of being like, of like people watching a video of mine and being like, oh my god, that's so funny, and then the video doesn't hit like 100 views, or like, you know what I mean? Does that sound bad? Like, it's I just, you know, I wanted to share that because it's on my brain, and I feel like a lot of creators feel that way. But it's just like, after a while, you're just like, I'm tired of being the underrated person. Like, I'm tired of being the person that you think deserves more views than they do. Like, I'm tired of being the person who, oh, you should have been picked for the Pride thing, or you should have been picked for, you know, the talk show thing on Twitch. It's like, there's a part of me that's like, yeah, why didn't I get picked for anything? Like, why am I on Twitch for 5 years and I'm never picked for, like, any Pride campaigns, any, you know, any talk, like, they're doing a talk show month, and I'm like, like, you know what I mean? And nobody likes to feel underappreciated, but like, there's only so much of being underappreciated that you feel like gets tiring after a while, for you to be like, you know what, yeah, people say good things about my content, and yet, you know, my tweets where I'm like subtweeting a situation or engaging with discourse gets more engagement than a tweet where I'm sharing like a blog post that I wrote or a video that I worked on. And you know what I mean? It's just like, it's like or like a tweet in which I share my Ko-Fi link gets more engagement than my actual Ko-Fi. And that's not a, you know, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm not complaining, whatever. I'm just saying that, like, sometimes it's hard to hear that, like, you know, oh, I love what you do, I love the things that you stand for and all of that, and then it's like, and it doesn't feel like the support that you get kind of matches with, like, the reputation that you have, or with the impact that you're making. I don't know. I don't want to be like, oh my god, my impact. But, you know, I think there's only so much of it that you can take until you're, like, kind of tired of. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm kind of getting tired of streaming or focusing on streaming full time. Because it's like, there's so much of my time that I can dedicate to this platform while not getting recognized by the platform that I can take before I feel like I shouldn't be trying. Not that I shouldn't be trying anymore, but maybe shouldn't be trying as hard, right? You know. You know what I mean? Like, I'm happy for people. I really am. I really do get happy for people when opportunities come up and they're like, you know, doing stuff and being a part of events and doing cool shit. But it's hard sometimes to feel like I'm kind of gate kept out of them. Either because I'm not friends with the right people in quotation marks, or maybe there's something about my content. Maybe there, you know what I mean? It's just like, I really don't get it. And a part of me is like, okay, then let me just focus on literally any other platform that exists out there. Not that I'm saying I'm gonna get recognized more there, but maybe I will. Or maybe it will be different, or, you know. Does that make sense? Am I complaining too much? You can be honest with me. Am I being too negative? You work so hard and you deserve to be recognized for that. Oftentimes I don't feel like I work hard enough. Sometimes I'm just like, I don't work hard enough. Maybe that's the problem, right? Welcome back, Pants. Sorry, I'm just catching up on chat because I'm talking a lot. That totally makes sense. Facts, though. Yeah. Yeah. It's hard, you know? It's hard. Like, content creation is hard in general. Like, it's difficult to... It's difficult to just make content to begin with, especially because you're like... you know, like, you're the producer, you're the audio person, you're the editor, you're the graphic designer, you're the event planner, you're the social media manager, you're the manager. And it's like, sometimes you put all that work and you're like, not necessarily for what, but a part of me is like, Jesus, like, when is it gonna be my turn, right? And I don't say it in a way of like, you know, don't give my opportunity to other people. But I will say, and I feel like, I don't know how this is gonna sound, but I feel like sometimes people get booked for things that they're not qualified for because they're more popular than me. I'm just gonna say that. Because I've seen it happen. Listen, I don't think I am the most incredible host in the world or interviewer or whatever, but I find it interesting that sometimes people get opportunities to like do interviews or to do hosting gigs when they can't hold a conversation, or they don't have, not that, okay, that's mean, maybe not that they cannot hold a conversation, but maybe they're not used to conducting a conversation. Maybe they're used to talking by themselves. Maybe they're used to only talking with their friends. But, you know, you look at their, you know, portfolio and you're like, you've never moderated anything, you've never hosted anything, and yet you're getting booked for opportunities that I'm like, they can get booked, but what about my invite? Like, I'm not saying take it away from them, but I'm just like, you know, sometimes you just see things happening and you're like, that person is doing an interview? Like, I've never seen them do interviews before. Like, and that's not a bad thing, but I'm just like, I mean, I do that for a living. Not for a living, but, you know, well, full time, I guess. We can say that. Like, I've been an interviewer. Hello? Hi, I'm here. And I don't know, sometimes I don't know if it's like a regional thing. Like, I don't know if sometimes people get booked for stuff because they're in the US, or because, you know, even if they're European, maybe like they're doing a UK thing and they're not doing it like the rest of Europe, which I get it. Like, sometimes that happens too. Or sometimes it's a brand thing and that brand is only working with certain creators or with certain, you know, whatever's. But like, it's hard for me to be like, sometimes I'm just like, oh, I would have been so good for this gig. Where was my invite? And this is not to take away from the people. It's just more of like, I get overlooked. You know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, I could have done that. Like, why didn't no one reach out to me for that? I feel like I would have been good for that. And I hope it didn't come across as like I was being shady to other creators. But, you know, sometimes you watch stuff and you're like, that person got it because they're famous or popular. And that's not a bad thing. Again, you know, give people opportunities. If someone never hosted an event before, let them host an event. Like, give them the experience. They're only gonna get experience by doing it. I get that. But like, there's just a part of me that is like, damn. Where was my invite? Like, we can all work. We can all get booked. Trust me. There's room for all of us. But you know, it's kind of like this is kind of like a thought that I had during Pride, especially, and that I'm kind of like thinking about now, as Pants is also talking about like being overlooked and stuff like that, and how that feels like you're being overlooked, because you're like sometimes you're like, I'm qualified, where's my invite, you know? And people do amazing things, and that's also a thing that Glenn is mentioning in chat, where it's like after Pride it's like crickets, right? It's like, you know, you don't have companies knocking on your door all year long to be like, hi. Like, that's also a thing. I'm sorry, I feel like I'm being too negative. I feel like I'm being too negative. I feel like everything just went to sleep in July. Yeah, I have seen like a couple creators like still getting cool opportunities after Pride, and I'm like, oh, that's really fierce. But like I would say generally, I would say generally it's true. I feel like I also apologize a lot. I was literally just apologizing 2 seconds ago, like, oh my god, I'm sorry, I'm too negative. I don't know. Maybe if you think I'm too negative, you can just not watch, I guess. I don't know. I can also get into not just company-wide, but also within the community can get overlooked by peers. I feel that, Pants. I feel that. And that's what I meant when I was talking about, like, you know, if you're not friends with the right people, you don't get invites for things. You know what I mean? Like, you're not in their brain. They're not thinking of you, right? And I don't know. And I feel like, and I talked about this before, where sometimes you feel like I feel that, where like if someone posts a thing where they're like, oh, I would love to play games with people, I feel like if I don't reply to them, they're not gonna think of me for it. And that sounds really bad, but that's what I feel. And I feel like I'm constantly like applying for things, and I feel like it's never a thing where like I get reached out to be like, hey, do you want to be a part of this cool thing? Well, I do. I have, you know. I'm just saying, generally speaking, that's not like my weekly experience, right? Or whatever. Like, it happens every once in a while. Let's just say that. Like, every once in a long while. And I feel like sometimes I'm like, I don't want to be applying for stuff. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I don't want to sound like I'm a diva or anything, but sometimes it's like, I'm sorry. Like, you can't tell me that I'm like, oh, Ruby is great, I love Ruby's content, and then like you don't like you don't talk to me about stuff, like you don't invite me for stuff. Like, I'm sorry, like, we're mutuals. Like, I don't feel like I should be like, sometimes in certain occasions I feel like, you know, you can just DM me, right? Like, I don't know why I have to go through this formal thing to get to you when we're like, you know, we've interacted before. Like, you're very nice to me, I've been very nice to you. It's like a whole thing where you're like, why can't you just like invite me? Or why can't you just contact me? Or, you know, whatever. Like, I don't know. Or they do and they don't care. That's true also. I did it finally and I just forgot. Granted, I did it finally and just forgot to message and try to plan things. Like, people reaching out to you, like you putting out a thing, people reaching out and you not going through with it. That happens though. That happens. That sometimes that's a thing where, like, you know, you're like, oh, let's do a thing, and then people actually respond, and then you end up not doing it at all. That's a thing that happens. Because you get busy, you get distracted. Like, yeah, that's the thing, yeah. I feel that. And sometimes you're like one of the first people to reply to like sometimes posts like that and then you don't hear back. Like that's totally a thing, yeah. That's totally a thing. I also feel like a part of me is becoming a little bit more distant from streamer Twitter because I am distancing myself from streamer Twitter. Like I will like retweet or interact with your post if you're saying something funny or something that's like relevant or something that's thoughtful. But I'm not gonna interact with your stuff if it's like, what do we think about eating on stream? I don't care. And I feel like that sometimes, you know, separates me a little bit from everyone else. And I'm also not the person who, you know, regularly streams like Fortnite and like Among Us and Apex. Insert multiplayer games here, right? I feel like sometimes I also get a bit like separated from people or distanced from people because I'm not that streamer that does like games with others. Also because I'm also gonna be honest, a lot of those streams, they a lot of the times only benefit the most popular person in that group call. And you're just kind of hoping that by some weird trickle down effect that you're gonna get followers from that, you know? Not that you're doing it for that reason, but it's a thing that happens. It's also like a thing where like everyone is just like streaming and like you're not actually, sometimes it's like you're not actually hanging out with them. You're just kind of in a call with them, but everyone is like streaming. So like you're not actually really interacting a lot with your friend. It's not like you're in like a friend's call, right? Sometimes it's just like, you know, it's just a streamer gathering. Everyone is putting on their show. Everyone is the main character, and it doesn't feel like there's like interaction, you know? Like, I don't know. Those were my experiences with like streaming, with like co-streaming, I guess. I just posted about my favorite cat boy. I love that. I hate whenever Etsy sends me a notification. I think it's a sale, but it's just them recommending me a listing. Or when you get an email from Amazon and you're like, oh my god, something is gonna be shipping, and you're like, oh, they're recommending me something. That happens to me so much. It's so sad. I just sound so bitter. I promise that's not what I'm trying to get to like come across, but I do sound a bit bitter. And I feel like I have the right to be a little bit about certain things. I feel like everyone has these thoughts. But I feel weird because I feel like no one ever talks about them. So I'm like, sometimes I'm talking about stuff on stream and I'm like, should I even talk about these things? Like, is this why I don't get... I'm never featured in anything because I talk too much about things that no one else talks about, but everyone else is feeling? You know, it almost reminds me of like when I would talk, when I feel like on my timeline I was like the only person or one of like maybe a handful of people that were like bringing up issues with Twitch or something like that, and it wasn't cool to do so. So I do feel like sometimes I did get a bit of like, not a shadow banned, but like maybe like put to the side a bit because I was a little too outspoken about certain things in a time where it wasn't cool to do so, like maybe like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. People, you know, I don't know. Honestly, I much prefer co-streams where everyone is interacting more with each other than chat. I think that leads to more memorable moments. I agree with you. I also like the idea of like one person is streaming, everyone else is a guest, and then maybe they raid into that and into like another person who's like on the call, and it kind of, you know. But I also do like the idea of like co-streaming with other people, but sometimes I have noticed that like, you know, it's the idea of like sometimes you boot up a game that you don't really care too much about in order to have this opportunity to be with your peers, and then it feels like it wasn't worth it for you to do so. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, you know. I think because we feel like we shouldn't talk about it. Oh yeah, I think because we feel like we shouldn't talk about it, but I think there needs to be a conversation on it. I agree. It's like talked about individually, like give this person more views or make them partner. I also noticed that kind of stuff. Like, I don't know how it happens, but sometimes people just kind of get behind certain people. And I'm just like, that's really cool. Like, I genuinely admire that. I'm like, that's really cool, but it's like, how are we as a community picking, oh, that person deserves partner? You know what I mean? I feel like sometimes that just kind of happens. Like, people just get like kind of like stands, and people just get like a lot of hype behind them, and you're like, that's really cool. I don't know why. Like, I'm not saying that there's nothing special about that. I'm just like, that's really neat. But, you know. And then sometimes those people let the power get to their head and they become manipulative assholes, and then everyone's like, how did that happen? And I'm like, I don't know, maybe because you were worshiping this person that you barely knew, and you put them in a pedestal to a point where they did think that they were the shit and they were better than everyone else. I don't know, maybe because that was the reason. I don't know, maybe. Just a theory. It's like talked about individual. Oh yeah, I read that. That could be a cute moment. I like that. It's like a little, like, you know, a little marathon, if you will. We also need co-streaming etiquette. I mean, needless to say, I don't have a lot of experience with co-streaming, but sometimes you're watching like a co-stream situation and like one person is speaking over everybody the whole time, and you're like, you think you're Beyonce. And sometimes, and oftentimes, they get away with it because they're the most popular person in the room, and no one will complain about it because they don't want to not be invited again. We also need co-streaming etiquette. That and not muting for their chat. Facts. You're right, and you should say it. It happens so often. I'm like, y'all, if I was in that call and I was acting the way that this person is acting, I would never get invited again. But guess what? They're the most popular person in that room, and so they're the one doing the invites, and so everyone just shuts up and it doesn't complain about it. I've seen co-streams where I watched the perspective of someone who wasn't the most popular, and they looked visibly annoyed, they looked visibly bored, and they were literally quiet the whole time. Like, they weren't talking to their chat, they weren't talking to the other people, they were just kind of there. And I'm like, why are you co-streaming with other people if the other people are gonna be the content, and they're just gonna be like in their little corner, just watch them, and they're like, ha ha ha. And like everyone else is talking, and you're like, why are you there? Like, I'm sorry, just like, maybe don't stream. Like, you also don't have to stream everything. Just because you're hanging out with someone doesn't mean that you have to like stream it. Don't call me out, Ruby. I've never seen you do that. I've never seen you do that. The birds are back. I don't know. I don't know what the point of this was. I don't know what the point of this was, but it's here. I did it. I get into these tangents and I'm like, how did I get here and what was my point? I feel like there's a time I either talk too much or I don't. I get that. I've also felt that way before. Like, you want to talk, but you don't want to talk too much. But then, like, you're just kind of overthinking it. You're like, oh, I don't know. I don't want to be annoying, but I also don't want to, like, not provide anything. I don't know. I don't like doing co-streams. And I feel like that's to my detriment, but I don't. Like, I'm okay with doing them with friends, but generally speaking, I will be there, but I might not stream my perspective. You know what I mean? Like, and that's also a thing that sometimes streamers have a problem with. Like, sometimes streamers have an issue being like, hi, I'm on my friend's stream. Like, why is that a problem? Like, you don't have to stream. Like, just because y'all are playing together doesn't mean that both of you need to be streaming. You know what I mean? Like, you could just, like, also talk with your friends and be like, hey, I don't love doing co-streams, so, like, we could schedule a time where maybe you're streaming and I'm just there as a guest, and you could do the same for me one time or something, you know? So it's more of like a collab. I don't know. But then again, I don't really stream multiplayer games anyway. But yeah, I think I'm comfortable with how much I streamed today, and I think I'm getting good. Not I'm getting good. What am I saying? I think we're at a good place to kind of start wrapping up a little bit. I feel like, yeah, I already read that. There's a time where we talk too much or too little. It's a thing. It's a thing. I will say something though. If you're a content creator, please don't feel bad about your numbers, even though I just complained about a little bit of it. But this is just like a friendly reminder that you, as a person, you are a person first and a content creator second, if you're a content creator at all. If you're not, then awesome. And that your value isn't determined by how many views you get and how many likes or retweets or anything of the sort. It really is easier said than done, as today's stream and today's conversation has proven. It's easier said than done, but it is doable. And it's a friendly reminder that in some places the world is opening up and probably gonna close back up again because people are opening up too soon. Portugal is guilty of this as well. And yeah, just know that if you're getting less views or if you're getting less engagement, it doesn't mean that your content has gotten magically worse. It just means that the world is opening up and that people are doing other things and they're prioritizing other things. Even with content creators, I know so many people that are quitting, are going to quit, or that have quit because they want to prioritize other things. They want to do other things. They don't want to do this anymore. And the same way that applies to content creators, it also applies to viewers. Some viewers, maybe Twitch is triggering for them. Maybe for some people, Twitch was their quarantine thing, and now that they believe the world is opening up, they don't want to, maybe opening Twitch for them reminds them of quarantine, and they don't want to do it anymore. You don't know. So what I'm trying to say is, don't be too hard on yourself. Love yourself as much as you can, as much as you are capable of at this particular point in time. It's hard to love yourself. It's hard to be proud of your content sometimes. But you got this. You can do it. I'm proud of you. Yeah. You can find more of my content on my website, ProjectRuby.eu. You can find links for all of the things in there. My Twitter, my Instagram, my TikTok, my Ko-Fi, all of the things can be found over there. We are going to be rating the wonderful Mana Russell. I adore this iconic icon. Thank you, Spin. That's my raid message. Please feel free to copy and paste the raid message of your preference, of your choice. If you're a sub, copy and paste the first one. If you're not a sub, you can either copy and paste the second one, or you can just do whatever emotes you want. You can use Mana's emotes if you have them. I also think Mana's chat is on follower only mode, but follow Mana. You're missing out if you're not following Mana anyway. So yeah, have a good one. I'm not gonna be on Just Gaming Things this week because my brother is coming over, like I said earlier. But definitely expect, I definitely want to do a solo podcast episode, so maybe that's coming soon. And I'm gonna try getting people onto the podcast and getting more episodes going with guests and friends and stuff. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, more streams. Drop a follow. Goodbye. Let's go say hi to Mana.